end well. Just think about that. Operating in absolutes. Dan Campbell now coaches like, we always go for it on fourth down. And this morning, Lion fans, they feel great. And it is great when you're 3-13-1. But do you know the teams since Dan Campbell arrived in the NFL that don't go for it on fourth down? Do you know who they are? The Chiefs, the Bills, and the Niners. They protect leads. You're no longer the hunter. You're the hunted. You're now IBM. You're not a startup company. Dan Campbell can no longer be a pro wrestler living up to the gimmick. They lead the NFL in fourth down attempts and fourth down conversions, and you feel great this morning, but that's not who you are anymore. It's like when you're young, put your money in Bitcoin. When you're old, put it in bonds. It's a different life. The runway now, your players are now in their prime. They're going to get very, very expensive. You're going to have to move off them. You're playing consistently with leads. In my lifetime, I don't ever remember a team winning the Super Bowl that had the all-season label of, man, they are risky. New England wasn't. Kansas City isn't. Buffalo isn't. That's not what wins championships. Last year against Dallas, by the way, 2-point conversions, week 17. Remember we kept going for those? It cost you the game, and it cost you the playoff tiebreaker. So this eventually won't win. Kansas City, Buffalo, and San Francisco, since Dan Campbell came in the league, the three winningest teams, don't go for it. They're protecting leads, protecting assets. Like right now, Detroit should be buying insurance for this mansion they've built, for all these beautiful assets they have. But they're just used to losing. The Tigers lose, the Pistons lose, the Lions lose. It's Loserville, and they've never been in this spot. But you are no longer the looking uphill at everybody else. You're looking down at everybody. You're leading these games. You need to ensure wins. Reckless is not going to, like that play when there's 43 seconds left, and you go for it. Kick the field goal. Even analytics said, kick the field goal. Good God, just take the lead. Green Bay's got 43 seconds and no timeouts left, and they just stopped you on 3rd and 1. They couldn't do it on 4th and 1. This thing, Jared Goff fell down. It was almost a disaster. Just take the lead.
Okay. I'm excited to do this clip. When I watched this game yesterday, I was like commenting to people, on the channel, trying to be like, did you guys watch this? Did anyone else watch this? Like, I need to talk to someone about this game. And I had a feeling Colin was going to come out from this direction. I was very confident about that because he's been very consistent about, going for it and how aggressive the Detroit Lions are. And I've echoed that in the past, and I know how Detroit Lions fans come back and are like, no, this is nonsense. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a clown, blah, 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 blah. And so that's why I'm like, Colin he's not reading all the comments and interacting with everyone, right? He's more insulated. He's TV, radio, not necessarily YouTube, even though obviously he's still on YouTube, but he's not locking in on the comments like people like I am. And so I know, like, him doing this is actually more brave than especially non-Lions fans, like, trust me. But for the Lions fans, they know full well. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I 100% agree with Colin. I really do. I know some people are going to be really hyped. I'm okay with him going for it on 4th down. When he's trying to score the touchdowns and whatnot, because they were 4 for 5 on 4th. But again, there's two perfect examples of when you don't go for it on 4th down. When you give the ball back on your own 30, and now the Packers effortlessly score a touchdown. You're up by 3. Now you're down by 4. That's a real thing that happens. And then you see that perfect example of when Jared Goff falls. Things happen. Things absolutely happen. And that has to be put into consideration when you're going for it on 4th down. Going for it on 4th down and being aggressive does not have to be binary. It does not have to be all or nothing. We always do it. You live and die by the sword. You can't do it. Because he said that in the broadcast too, where he's like, hey, you can't just, this is who they are, and you can't just like it when it works. No, you can still be hyper aggressive. You can still be what this team wants to be, but it doesn't have to be every single time. It's just you just can't. And I know already some people are going to be like, Yeah, he named the Chiefs, the Bills, and the 49ers. Well, outside of the Chiefs, who's got Super Bowls of them? The Bills have never even been to a Super Bowl. That'll be the comeback. And it's not necessarily the answer. And again, listen, I'm not using the Bills as a reference of greatness or how to win, because they're great because of Josh Allen. You can look at the 49ers and the Chiefs, obviously, of course. But I would just say that this team is so good, so insane, right? 7 for 15 on third down, 4 for 5 in the red zone. Jared Goff was 32 for 41, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns. Only took 1 sack. Mr. Immobile quarterback who can't move, who's just a civilian, as Nick Wright put it. 109 rating. I mean, this team's just got everything, right? Gibbs and Montgomery, both total yards from scrimmage, 70 to 80 yards, both have a touchdown. I mean, you got Tim Patrick going 6 receptions for 43 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's not like you even have to just rely on Amon-Ra St. Brown and company, right? I mean, there's just so much going on. And even after Goff throws a really, really awful interception, which he knows, right? I mean, he knows that was just a straight up, what did I just do moment. And he's got, memory loss. Doesn't remember. Just keeps on going, which is awesome, right? I mean, he drives down the field the next drive and scores a touchdown like it was nothing. Like he was just playing in the backyard with his friends. I mean, this team is so complete and, offensively too. And then you could see what they did. Defensively to start the game, the tone and the energy that the Lions set up. I mean, my goodness, Jordan Love had 50 yards at in the first half. I mean, the defense was just swarming him, making him uncomfortable, playing sticky defense. Obviously, they even said in the broadcast that the Lions lead the NFL with most PI calls, but it sends a message, right? It's kind of like, we are going after you. You better hope they throw the flag. You better hope, because that's the only way you're getting bailed out. And listen, I mean, the reason why the game was even close was because it took a lot of heroics of Jordan Love. I mean, Jordan Love, I know Lions fans don't want to maybe necessarily agree, but Jordan Love really has a lot of special in him. And I mean, you saw how he escaped the 1 sack and made that perfect throw. I think it was, I forget exactly who it was, but I mean, that's really what it took. And obviously the Lions are banged up on defense. That can't be denied, but to hold the Packers to only 7 points in the first half is pretty remarkable. They were uncomfortable. The Packers were not ready for that game. That's very obvious from the jump. They were not ready. They found their footing in the second half, but mainly because of little things like the Lions allowing them, giving them great field position. A bunch of their scores were because of just great field position. But the Packers, they were, where do I have it written down? The Packers were 1 for 4 or 1 for 5 on third down. I mean, that's, that's awful. And that's as good as it gets for the Lions defense. I definitely wrote it down somewhere. It was definitely 1 for 4, 1 for 5, somewhere in that range. I mean, so it's just pretty remarkable. And that is why I agree with Colin about being more strategic and smart about, when you go for it. Because we see things that can happen. I remember in the playoffs last year when they went for it. And I think it was Amon-Ra St. Brown dropped the ball, literally. And people said, well, that means it was a good call. He was open. He just needs to catch it. And it's yes, but you have to factor in that someone can drop the ball. It all has to be factored in. Like I always say, multiple things can be true. And honestly, Jared Goff falling is the perfect example of what can go wrong. You're really fortunate that they were able to convert that. Really, really, really fortunate. And giving the Packers an easy touchdown when you're on your own 30, and the defense was playing good. I know the Packers kind of started getting some rhythm, but part of that rhythm was giving them an easy touchdown. Because again, you held them in the first half. I know they were definitely playing better in the second half than the first half, but not light years better. Not suddenly playing like they are prime time Patrick Mahomes, 22, Tyreek Hill. That's not what they turned into. They were still very much uncomfortable. It's the benefit that I get watching the game through more neutral eyes and not being a Lions fan or a Packers fan. because then I get to more closely evaluate, like, who's got the momentum. If I'm watching this game and I'm rooting for the Packers, who do I feel? Do I feel good? Okay, the Packers got the ball back. They're up by 4. Do I feel like, all right, we got this? And if I'm a Lions fan, I'm watching this game. Am I like, all right, you know, we're up by 7 or, you know, whatever it is at this point. Like, I feel good about this game. Let's go. Like, I can really kind of jump in and out of the view and of the perspective and be like, you know, where do I feel right now? And I not for a second, if you're a Packers fan, not for a second should you feel comfortable. Like, the Lions were in control. The Lions allowed the Packers to have moments of control. Like I said, outside of some heroics of Jordan Love, the game wasn't even close. Not even close. Also, like Jordan Love misses, a wide open touchdown, and then kind of gets bailed out by, a very obvious pass interference call. So, I mean, which then, you know, pretty much guaranteed that they were going to get a touchdown, because then it was 1st and goal, like, you know, on the 1-yard line. So, I just think that the Lions, like, I'm really curious actually to see how fans react to this, honestly. If they're just all 100% all in, this is who Dan Campbell is, this is the Lions' identity, or if they're like, yeah, I love that we're aggressive, I love that we're like this, but we still need to be a little bit smarter. There's nothing wrong with evolving. Listen, you need to evolve, because if you don't evolve and get better and be better, well, then you're going to get the same levels of success that you had in previous years, which would then be not Super Bowl. So there's always that evolution. And it's actually kind of perfect that he brought up Patrick Mahomes, because again, Patrick Mahomes' game and the way how the Kansas City Chiefs play, especially offensively, needed to evolve. Otherwise, they would not be winning the amount of Super Bowls that they have won. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. Patrick Mahomes does not play the same way that he plays in 2019, 2020, 22. It's not the same style of play. His style of play and how aggressive Andy Reid would want to be with a great quarterback like Patrick Mahomes would never work with the team that they have now. So it's understanding that you have to be more fluid with the identity of your football team, but you don't have to sacrifice the culture for it. You don't have to sacrifice your core identity and your core principles, but you need to be able to do what's right for any given situation. And again, that's why football as a whole is the perfect metaphor for this, because you don't call the same run play every single drive. You don't call the same passing play every single drive. It's situational. That's why you have a play caller like Ben Johnson. Otherwise, it would just be like, hey, these are all the plays that we're going to run. We just have this list, 1 through 80. You know, here you go. Just call it. Doesn't matter. Whether it's 2nd and 3rd, 3rd and 10, doesn't matter. Just call the plays. That's obviously not what happens. So, yeah, I'm excited to read the comments on this one, honestly. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.